Welcome to Whisper of Haunted Waves. Tonight, we step behind the door of a small London apartment, a door that hid years of secrets, silence, and psychological darkness. This is not just a crime story. It is a story about loneliness, identity, a double life, and the terrifying truth that evil can look ordinary. This is the twisted world of Dennis Nilsen, a man who lived quietly, yet carried one of the darkest secrets in British history. From the outside, he looked like a calm, polite, soft-spoken neighbor. But inside his flat, he lived in an entirely different reality, a world shaped by emotional emptiness and an obsession with control. For years, no one noticed the storm growing behind those walls, until one day, the drains of the building revealed the hidden horrors the apartment had been holding. Tonight, we explore not just the crimes, but the mind, the silence, the lies, and the psychological shadows of Dennis Nilsen's life. A story that still haunts Britain, and still leaves experts questioning how it all stayed hidden for so long. Dennis Nilsen walked the streets of London like any ordinary man, quiet, polite, unremarkable. He worked a regular civil service job. He owned a dog he loved. He drank socially. He spoke kindly to neighbors. To the world, he was boringly normal, a man who blended into the background without effort. He was the type of person people forget minutes after meeting him, and that invisibility allowed him to live a double life no one suspected. Nilsen had a childhood marked by emotional distance, a father who left, a mother who struggled, a loneliness that grew deeper as he became a teenager. He felt invisible, unseen, unwanted, and the cracks created in his youth only widened over time. By adulthood, he had learned to wear a mask, a quiet, gentle, controlled version of himself. But the loneliness inside him remained heavy, like a shadow that followed him everywhere. In 1981, Nilsen moved into a top-floor apartment at 23 Cranley Gardens, Muswell Hill. The flat was small, just a living room, a bedroom, a kitchen, and a bathroom. But for Nilsen, it became a place where he could create a world of his own. Neighbors barely heard him. No loud music, no parties, no visitors, just silence. Sometimes, tenants complained about strange smells coming from his flat, but the building was old. People assumed it was plumbing. Sometimes, they complained about the drains backing up, but again, old pipes. No one imagined the truth. Nilsen lived alone, yet he never wanted to feel alone. His apartment became a place where he tried to escape abandonment, a place where his loneliness and twisted fantasies blended into something dangerous. Inside his flat, he created an entire emotional world, a world where he believed he had control, a world where people couldn't leave him, a world that existed only behind locked doors. In early 1983, neighbors started complaining more urgently. The drains were blocked again, badly this time. Dirty water kept rising up. The smell was unbearable. Something was clogging the entire building's plumbing system. Plumbers were called. They inspected the pipes outside the building. They found something stuck, something soft, unusual, and troubling. At first, they didn't understand what they were looking at. They removed the blockage. They assumed the problem was fixed. But the next day, the same blockage returned, worse than before. The plumbers realized something important. Whatever was blocking the drains was coming from one specific pipe, one apartment, Dennis Nilsen's apartment. Police were notified immediately. 2 officers arrived at Cranley Gardens. They walked up the stairs and knocked on Nilsen's door. He opened it calmly, as if expecting them. The officers explained why they were there. They asked him about the drains. They asked if he noticed anything strange. Nilsen listened, then sighed softly, and said words the officers never expected. "Yes, I know what's blocking the drains." One officer asked, "What exactly is blocking them?" Nilsen paused, then quietly said, "It's coming from me." The officers froze. They weren't sure what he meant. Then Nilsen added, "I think you should come inside." He walked to the living room, sat down, and confessed everything. Just like that. No running, no fighting, no panic. Only a quiet acceptance, as if he had been waiting for someone to discover the truth. When police entered the flat, they immediately felt something off. The air was heavy. The rooms were cold. The silence felt wrong. The flat looked neat, nothing dramatic. A few books, simple furniture, a quiet little home. But deeper inside, investigators found evidence of a long, disturbing pattern, hidden carefully, managed quietly, maintained for years. This wasn't a one-time event. This was a lifestyle, a secret world Nilsen had built slowly, piece by piece. His loneliness had turned into an obsession for control. His desire for companionship had twisted into something darker. His apartment had become a place where his emotional fractures controlled everything. At the police station, Nilsen remained calm. He spoke clearly. He described events chronologically. He answered every question. Psychologists later said he spoke like a narrator, not a participant. He talked about loneliness, fear of abandonment, the need to keep people close literally. Control, silence, fantasy. His mind operated in a world where emotions were twisted into strange logic. To Nilsen, the apartment was a place where he could be in charge, a place where he controlled every moment, a place where no one could leave him ever again. Investigators were disturbed, not only by the facts, but by how calmly he described them. No hesitation, no emotion, no panic. It was as if he had separated himself from the story completely. When news broke, the entire country was stunned. People couldn't believe someone so quiet had lived such a double life. Neighbors were horrified. They had seen him every day, shared walls with him, smiled at him, spoke to him kindly. No one suspected anything. The trial revealed more of his psychological world. A man who felt invisible, a man who feared abandonment, a man who lived in two realities, one outside, one inside his apartment. Experts couldn't fully agree on his mental state. Was he manipulative? Was he broken? Was he delusional? Or was he simply empty? The court eventually sentenced him. He was taken away from the small apartment that had hidden his double life. But the story of that flat would never disappear. After Nilsen's arrest, the flat was cleaned and remodeled, but people refused to live there. Tenants moved in, then quickly left. Some reported strange feelings. Some felt watched. Some heard faint noises. Most simply said, "Something feels wrong here." The building owners eventually removed the flat from the rental market. The apartment was sealed, a silent reminder of the years of secrets it once held. Even today, the place is spoken about in whispers. Some say buildings remember. Some say walls absorb energy. Some say locations carry the weight of the past. In this case, it certainly seems true. Dennis Nilsen's story is not just a crime story. It is a psychological story, a warning about loneliness, a reminder that darkness can grow quietly, behind polite smiles and calm voices. His apartment became a symbol of hidden horrors, a place where silence covered everything, a place where no one knew the truth until it crawled up through the drains. Thank you for watching Whisper of Haunted Waves. Remember, the scariest places are not always abandoned houses or haunted forests. Sometimes, the real horror lives behind a simple apartment door, quiet, ordinary, unnoticed, until the silence finally breaks. Follow for more.